I was chatting with a friend the other day who's trying to decide whether to turn his whole office into a smart room with a giant touch screen, and I could hear the hesitation in his voice. He's got a decent budget, but he's also worried about spending a fortune on something that might end up as a pricey decorative piece rather than a daily workhorse. I thought, let's break this down before he throws $100,000+ at a wall. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The ViewSonic IFP8641 is an 86-inch 4K UHD interactive display that basically tries to be everything you need in a meeting room hub: a massive touchscreen, an Android operating system, a 55-watt soundbar, and a 100-watt USB-C connection that carries video, power, and data all at once. If you're the kind of person who's tired of juggling a projector, a separate speaker system, and a handful of laptops, this all-in-one approach is instantly appealing. But because it's such a big-ticket item, the decision hinges on a few very practical questions. First off, who actually benefits from a device of this size and feature set? If you run a classroom, a corporate training space, or a design studio where teams need to sketch, annotate, and video chat on the same screen, the 86-inch canvas is a genuine productivity booster. The 64-point touch response feels natural when you're dragging a CAD model around or highlighting a paragraph during a lesson. The built-in microphone array captures voices clearly enough for a Zoom call with 10 participants, so you're not constantly reaching for a separate conference phone. For those use cases, the ViewBoard essentially eliminates a lot of extra gear and wiring, which can actually save money in the long run. On the flip side, if you're just looking for a big TV to binge Netflix on the couch, you might be better off with a dedicated home theater projector or a high-end OLED TV paired with a separate sound system. The 55-watt soundbar, while respectable for its size, doesn't deliver the deep rumble you'd expect in a dedicated home theater setup. Bass is present, but it feels more like an enhanced TV speaker than a true subwoofer. In a spacious living room, the dialogue can get a little thin, especially during action scenes where the soundtrack competes with background effects. For people who crave a cinematic experience with a separate subwoofer and surround speakers, this built-in audio will feel underpowered. Another common worry is the learning curve. The display runs Android with EDLA certification, meaning you have access to the Google Play Store and can install apps just like on a tablet. That's great for pulling up a whiteboard app or a collaboration suite in a pinch, but the UI isn't optimized for a TV-size screen. Navigating menus with a remote can feel a bit sluggish compared to the snappy experience you get on a smart TV. If you plan to use it mainly for interactive work, that won't be a deal-breaker. However, if you expect the same smooth streaming experience you'd get on a Roku or Fire TV, you might run into a few hiccups. Now let's talk about the practical strengths that actually show up after the box is opened. The single-cable USB-C solution is a game-changer. You can connect a laptop, a tablet, or even a smartphone and have power, video, and data flowing through one port. In a conference room that's already packed with cables, that reduces clutter dramatically. The 4K UHD panel is bright enough to stay visible in a well-lit office, and the eco-friendly visual performance means the colors stay vivid without consuming a massive amount of power. In my tests, the screen's anti-glare coating made a noticeable difference when daylight hit the wall at a 45-degree angle. The image stayed clear without the washout you sometimes see on cheaper panels. The integrated microphone array does a solid job of picking up voices from across the room, which is a plus for hybrid meetings where some participants are in person and others are dialing in. I ran a quick test with 5 people spread out, and the remote participants reported clear audio with minimal echo. That said, the device lacks a dedicated echo cancellation hardware module, so in larger rooms with hard surfaces you might notice a faint reverberation if you push the volume to max. On the connectivity front, the IFP8641 offers the usual HDMI ports, a couple of USB-A slots, and of course the USB-C. You can plug in a streaming stick if you prefer that over Android's native apps, which is useful for people who already have a library of content on a device like an Apple TV.